Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So thank you for joining in. Let's start with one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll go to the next sections of our session today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Shivasadi Gaur Bhakti.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Namo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashodra Shadeshwengre Sabai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai Ganga Maiya ki jai Maiya ki jai Bhakti Devi ki jai Dochi Maharani ki jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai Kali Kapitita Pavana Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai All glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna, all glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Shla Prabhupada ki jai, Shla Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Jnana Dimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sargana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Rishe Namaha Panchatattva Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namosute Jaitam Surato Pangor Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasya Padam Bhojau Shri Radha Madar Mohanau Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastav Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Preshtali Beat Sevyamana Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambe Vamshi Vatatastitaha Karshan Venur Swanait Gopir Shri Gopinath Siyestuna Taptaka Anchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yakrapatamam Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you for joining on Sunday. So we are having Sunday sessions also in this month because we don't want to miss even a single day of this month of Purushottam Month. So the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, let us continue with our special session for the auspicious month of Purushottam Month. Yeah. Okay, so let's quickly go on to the chanting of the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, I'll share my screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 15, Yoga of the Supreme Person, also called Purushottam Yoga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottama Yoga. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Urdhvamulam Madha Shakam Ashvatam Prahuravayam Chandamchi Yasya Pranani Stam Vedasya Vedavid Adhaschordvam Prashutastasya Shakha Guna Pravridha Vishaya Pravala Adasya Mulananusantani Karmanubandini Manushya Loke Narupamasye Hatatoparabhyate Nato Nachadir Nachatam Pratishtha Ashvattamenam Svirudhamulam Sangashastrena Dridena Chitva Tatapadam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yata pravritti prasuta purani nirmana moha jitahanga dosha adhyatmanitya vrittakamah dvandvair vimuktaah sukadukka samye gacchantya mudha patamavyayam tad natadvasyate suryo na shashanko na papakah yadgatva nivartante taddama paramam mama ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःशस्तानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदाप्नोति यच्चाप्युत्क्रमतीश्वरः बृहद्वैतानि संयाति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं सतं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्ति आत्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्ति चेतसः यदादित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भास्यते किलं यच्चन्द्रामसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्युमामकम् गामविश्या च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चोषधी सर्वा सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनं देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम् सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मथ स्मृतिज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहं द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते उत्तमः पुरुषस्त्वन्यः परमात्मेति उदाहृतः यो लोकत्रयमाविश्य विवर्त्यव्यईश्वरः यस्माक्षरम् अतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोकवेदे च प्रतीतः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेवं सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद् मां सर्वभावेन भारत इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रमिदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्यश्च भारत हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ट्रांसलेशन बाय डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruit of actions of human society. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, nirmana moha jita sanga dosha, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. The living entity in this material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, just like the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. Text 11. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly. But those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire also come from me. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuffs. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Besides these two, the fallible and the infallible, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koti Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So, like we discussed yesterday, because some of the devotees expressed their concern that they cannot join on Sundays. So we are having this session primarily for the recitation of the prayers for Purushottam Month. So today we will not be reading the perfection of yoga. We will be reading the translations of all the songs, as well as just now we read the translation of chapter 15 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now we'll go ahead and read 10.14.1 onwards. We will read the summary of what are Brahma's prayers, a particular chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll read the chapter description that gives us an essence of what are the prayers, what is the mood of Brahma's prayer to Lord Sri Krishna. So that's what we'll try to do. So chapter 14, Brahma's prayers to Lord Sri Krishna. This chapter describes the prayers Brahma offered to Krishna, who is also known as Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj. For his satisfaction, Brahma first praised the beauty of the Lord's transcendental limbs and then declared that his original identity of sweetness is even more difficult to comprehend than his opulence. So we saw today how we will go from, Prabhupada has recommended that we go from first canto to the 10th canto, wherein the first 9 cantos basically are going to describe the Lord's opulence, the Lord's greatness. And then the 10th canto, when we come to the 10th canto, we will then understand the sweetness of Lord Krishna, so the sweet, loving reciprocation between Lord Krishna and the Vrajavasis, the devotees, the pure devotees of Vrindavan Dham. So we will first understand the opulence of the Lord, because here it is mentioned the sweetness of the Lord is more difficult to comprehend than his opulence, because there is this risk of understanding. There is this risk of properly understanding the Lord's pastimes. So when we know the Lord is great and I am the Amsha of the Lord, then we will understand and follow the instructions of the Lord. Rather, we will not imitate the Lord like that. So only by the devotional process of hearing and chanting transcendental sounds received from Vedic authorities can one realize the personality of Godhead. It is fruitless to try to realize God through processes outside the scope of Vedic authority. The mystery of the personality of Godhead, who is a reservoir of unlimited spiritual qualities, is inconceivable. It is even more difficult to understand than the impersonal Supreme, right? Vadanti tattva sattvam yajnana madhyam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. So it is easy to understand the impersonal Brahman form, right? Because the Lord is definitely above the three modes of material nature. To understand that is very, very easy. But even higher than that understanding is understanding of the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And even higher than that is actually the understanding of the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti shabdyate. So in this way, the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead goes through like that. Okay. So let's continue. It is even more difficult to understand than the impersonal Supreme. Thus, only by the mercy of God can one understand his glories. Finally, realizing this, Brahma repeatedly condemned his own actions and recognized that Lord Sri Krishna, the ultimate children of the universe, is Brahma's own father and the original Narayan. In this way, Brahma begged the Lord's forgiveness. This is after the Brahma Vimohan Leela that we discussed in detail, how Brahma is now offering prayers for the pleasure of Lord Krishna after his illusion was broken by the Lord. After he actually puts down his four-headed, all the four crowns on his head, he puts them at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, begs forgiveness, and then glorifies Lord Sri Krishna. Brahma then glorified the inconceivable opulence of the personality of Godhead and described the ways in which Brahma and Shiva differ from Lord Vishnu. The Prabhupada explains the difference between Shiva and Vishnu as between milk and curd, right? Well, the milk is the source of the curd, right? Shiva comes out of Vishnu, like Vishnu is the source of even Shiva. But milk and curd cannot be used interchangeably, right? When there is over-digestion, when there is some issue with the digestion or constipation, etc., due to overconsumption of milk, Prabhupada explains how curd is the remedy. The curd is the medicine for such kind of constipation or other illness that is caused due to overconsumption of milk products like that. So the reason for the Supreme Lord's appearance in various species of demigods, animals, and so on, the eternal nature of the pastimes of the personality of Godhead, and the temporality of the material world. Of course, Brahma is a Jiva Tattva. Anyone who perfects his life, who acquires all the qualities up to 80%, will get the opportunity of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Brahma. But Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Right? Even if you become Brahma in this world, it is like eternity from the spectrum of the material world. But it is still a tiny fraction of time, taking into account the eternity of this entire creation, like that. By knowing the Supreme Personality in truth, the individual spirit soul can achieve liberation from bondage. In actuality, however, both liberation and bondage are unreal, for it is only from the living entity's conditioned outlook that is bondage and liberation are produced. Thinking the personal form of Lord Krishna illusory, fools reject his lotus feet and look elsewhere to find the Supreme Self. But the futility of their search is the obvious proof of their foolishness. There is simply no way to understand the truth of the personality of Godhead without his mercy. Other Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet graham indriyahi sevon mukhehi jivvado swayam eva suratyadaha. When we engage our senses in the service of the Lord will suratyadaha. The Lord will reveal himself to us. And that is the way we can understand the Lord. We cannot understand the Lord by mental speculation, by this Aroha Pantha. We have to render service and then we have to wait for the mercy of the Lord that flows down in the Avaroha Pantha through the disciplic succession. Having established this conclusion, Lord Brahma analyzed the great good fortune of the residents of Braja and then personally prayed to be born there, even as a blade of grass, a bush, or a creeper. Indeed, the homes of the residents of Vrindavan are not prisons of material existence, but rather abodes indeed even with the Jnanis and the yogis. On the other hand, any home without a connection to Lord Krishna is in fact a prison cell of material existence. Finally, Brahma offered his whole self at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, circumambulated the Lord, praising him again and again. He circumambulated him and took his leave. Lord Krishna then gathered the animals Brahma stole, led them to the place on the Yamuna's bank where the cowherd boys had been taking lunch. This was a year back when the Brahma Vimohan Leela happened. For 1 year, Krishna had become the calves and all the calves in Vrindavan. He expanded himself to all the calves in Vrindavan. He expanded himself into all the cowherd boys of Vrindavan. So in this way, 1 year had passed, but nobody knew it. When Balaram didn't know of it. And then during this entire 1 year, all of the desires of the gopis to have Krishna as their son, as well as the cows, all of them became so much affectionate towards their calves. In this way, Krishna fulfilled the desires of the Brajavasis to have Krishna as their son. Right? So in this way, after 1 year, when Brahma's illusion was broken and Brahma offered forgiveness, Brahma offered his prayers, then Krishna forgave Brahma, and then Krishna brings back, Brahma returns the calves and the gopas to Krishna, and Krishna brings them back to the same place from where they were taken by Brahma. So it all happened when Madhumangal's buttermilk was, he was holding it in his mouth, and Krishna tapped his cheek, and all the buttermilk went into Krishna's mouth. And Brahma was thinking, this cannot be the Supreme Lord. Let me test him. And that's how, when Krishna had actually gone out for grazing the calves, that time only this Leela happened. When from that particular place where they had joined for having lunch, at that time only this happened. This Leela happened where Brahma actually stole away the calves and the cowherd boys and put them in a cave in Brahmaloka. And at that time, Krishna manifested into each of those cowherd boys and each of those calves. And 1 year, everything went on as if nothing had changed. Right? Everybody thought that things were going on as usual. This is inconceivable opulence of the Supreme Personality of God. It expanded himself in such a way that nobody knew that something was amiss. Only Balaram could check, right? Because why are the cowherd men suddenly so much very, very expressing so much of love to their sons, right? They're quite big now. So why are they expressing so much of love? And why are the cows giving so much of milk? What is happening? And then when Balaram, it happened, this Leela happened on the day Brahma appeared. On the day Balaram appeared, right? On Balaram's appearance day. That's why Balaram did not come for this particular grazing of the cows. He was at home doing some pujas, homas, etc. At that time, this Leela happened. And when 1 year passed on like this, then Balaram was thinking something suspicious, right? Something different is going on. Why are these cows and the cowherd men so much attracted towards their sons and the calves? And then Lord Krishna only told Balaram that this is what happened. And even Balaram was put into illusion for 1 full year. And now actually Krishna is bringing back all the cowherd boys, and for them it is like they just didn't know that 1 year had passed, because whenever they are in difficulty, just think of Krishna, and they were all unconscious. But now they're thinking, Krishna, you've come so quickly, and it is like they just assembled to take a morsel of food. So like that they're calling Krishna, Krishna, come, let's eat, like that. This is the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Laughing at the words of the cowherd boys, Lord Krishna began taking his meal in their company. While eating, Krishna pointed out to his young friends the skin of the python. The boys thought, Krishna has just now killed this terrible snake. Indeed, later they related to the residents of Vrindavan the incident of Krishna's killing the Agha demon, Aghasura. In this way, the cowherd boys described the pastimes that Lord Krishna had performed in his Balya age, which is between 1 and 5, even though he was currently in the Pauganda age, 6 to 10. Like that. Shukadeva Goswami concludes this chapter by explaining how the gopis loved Lord Krishna even more than they loved their own sons. That is the reason during this period of 1 year, they were so affectionate towards their sons, because because Krishna had personally expanded into these gopas. In this way, Krishna satisfied the desires of all of these the gopis and the gopas of Vrindavan who wanted to have Lord Shri Krishna as their son. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So now let's move on to reciting the verses. What is the actual words of Lord Brahma when he begs forgiveness from Lord Shri Krishna. So that's what we'll see now. Let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14. Brahma's prayers, Lord Sri Krishna. 10.14.1 Sri Brahma Vacha. So Brahma is reciting all these prayers after having offered obeisance to Krishna and begging forgiveness to Krishna. No midyate bravapushe radidambaraya gunjavadam sabarivichana sanmukhaya vanye sraje kavala vetra vishana venu lakshma shriye mridupade pushupangajaya अस्यापि देव वपुषो मत् अनुग्रहस्य स्वेच्छामयस्य न तु भूतमयस्य कोऽपि नेशे मही त्वसितुं मनसान्तरेण साक्षात् तवैव किमुतात्मसुखानुभूतेः ज्ञाने प्रयासम् उदपास्य नमन्त एव जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितां भवदीयवार्तां स्थाने स्थिता श्रुतिगतां तनूवान् मनोभिर्ये प्रयासो अजितजितोऽपि असितैस्त्रिलोक्याम् श्रियश्रितं भक्तिमुदस्य ते विभो क्लिश्यन्ति ये केवलबोधलब्धये तेषाम् असौ क्लेशल एव शिष्यते नान्यद्यथा स्थूलकुशावघातिनाम् पुरेह भूमान् बहवोऽपि योगिनस्त्वदर्पितेह निजकर्मलब्धया विबुध्य भक्त्यैव गतोपनीतया प्रपेदिरेञ्जोऽच्युतते गतिं पराम् तथापि भूमन् महिमा गुणस्य ते विबोधुमर्हत्यमलान्तरात्मभिः अविक्रियात् स्वानुभवादरूपतो ह्यनन्यबोधात्मतया न चान्यथा गुणात्मनस्तेऽपि गुणान् विमातुं हितावतीर्णस्य कैशिरेस्य कालेन यैर्वा विमितैषु कल्पैर्भूपं शवके मेकाद्युवासः सत्तेऽनुकम्पां सुसमीक्षमाणो भुजान एवात्मकृतं विपाकं हृद्वग्वपूर्भिर्विदधान् नमस्ते जीवेतयो मुक्तिपदे सदा यभाग् पश्येषमेनार्यमनन्ताद्ये परात्मनि त्वयि अभिमयिमायिनि मायां विदत्येक्षितुमात्मवैभवं ह्यहं कियानैचमिवाचिरघ्नौ अतः क्षमस्वाच्युत मे रजो भुवो यथानतस्त्वत्पृथगीशमानिनः अजावलेपान्दतमोन्दचक्षुषा येषोऽनुकम्प्यो मयिनाथवानिति त्वां तमो महदं कचराग्निबार्भू संवेष्टिताण्डघटसप्तवितष्टिकायः वेद्रिग्विदादिगणिताण्डपरानुचर्या पाताद्वरोमविवरस्य च ते मही त्वम् उत्क्षेपणं गर्भगतस्य पादयो किं कल्पते मातुर्दोक्षजाविषे किमस्ति नास्ति व्यपदेशभूषितं तवास्ति कुक्षे कियदप्यनन्तः जगत्त्रयान्तो ददिवं प्लवोदे नारायणस्योदरणाभिनालात् विनिर्गतो जस्त्वितिवान् न मयि मृषा किन्त्वीश्वर त्वन्निर्गतोऽस्मि नारायणस्त्वं नहि सर्वदेहिनाम् आत्मा सदीक्षा किल लोकसाक्षी नारायणोऽङ्गं नरभूजलायनात् तच्चापि सत्यं न तवैव माया तच्चेजलस्तं तव सज्जगत्वपुः किं मे न दृष्टं भगवं सदैव किं वा सुदृष्टं हृदि मे तदैव किं नो सपद्येव पुनर्व्यदर्शे अत्रैव माया दमनावतारे यस्य प्रपञ्चस्य बहिषुतस्य कृत्स्नस्य चान्तर्जतरे जनन्या माया त्वमेव प्रकटीकृतं ते यस्य कुक्षाविदं सर्वं सात्मं भाति यथा तथा तत्त्वय्यपि यः तत्सर्वं किम् इदं मायया विना अद्यैव तद्विरुद्धये किं ममानते मायात्मदादर्शितम् एकोऽसि प्रथमं ततो व्रज सुहृद्वत्सा समस्ता अपि तावन्तसि चतुर्भुजा सत् अखिलैः साकं मयोपशितस्तावन्तेव जगन्ति यभोस्तदमिदं ब्रह्माद्वयं शिष्यते जानतां त्वत्पदवीमनात्मनि आत्मात्मना भासि तत्यमायां सृष्टा विवाहं जगतो विधान इव त्वमेषोऽन्त इव त्रिनेत्रः सुरेश्वरेष्वीश तथैव नृष्वपि तिर्यक्षुयादशपिते जनस्य जन्मा सतां दुर्मदनिग्रहाय प्रभो विधातु सदनुग्रहाय च को वेति भूमान् भगवन् परात्मन् योगेश्वरो तेर्वपतस्त्रिलोक्यां वा कथं वा कति वा कथेति विस्तारयन् ग्रीवसि योगमायां तस्मादिदं जगदशेषमसत्स्वरूपं स्वप्नावमस्तदिशनं हुरुदुःखदुःखं त्वय्येव नित्यसुखबोधतनावनन्ते माया तौद्यदपि यत् सदिवा भवाति एकस्त्वमात्मपुरुषः पुराणः सत्यस्वयं ज्योतिरनन्ताद्यः नित्योऽक्षरोजश्रुसुको निरञ्जनः पूर्णाद्वयो मुक्तोपादितो मृतः एवं विधिं त्वां सकलात्मनामपि स्वात्मानमात्मात्मतया विचक्षते गुर्वर्कलब्धोपनिषत्सु चक्षुषा ये ते धरन्तीव भवान् हृतां बुधिम् आत्मानमेवात्मतया विजानातं तेनैव जातं निखिलं प्रपञ्चिकम् ज्ञानेन भूयोऽपि च तत्प्रलीयते रज्ज्वामहे भोगभवाभौ यथा अज्ञानसंज्ञो भवबन्धमोक्षौ द्वौ नामनान्यौ सत्तजाभावात् अजस्रचित्तात्मनि केवले परे विचार्यमाणे तरुणाविवाहनि त्वमात्मानं परं मत्वा परमात्मानमेव च आत्मा पुनर्बहिर्मृग्या अहोज्ञा जनताज्ञता अन्तर्भवेरन्तभवन्तमेव ह्यदत्यजन्तो मृगयन्ति सन्तः असन्तमपि यन्ति अहिमन्तरेण सन्तं गुणं तं किमुयन्ति सन्तः अथापि ते देवपदाम्बुजद्वय प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव हि जानाति तत्त्वं भगवन्महिम्नो न चान्ये कोऽपि चिरं विचिन्वन् तदस्तु मे नाथ स भूरिभागो भवेत्रवान्यत्र द्वातिरश्चाम् येनाहमेकोऽपि वज्जनानां भूत्वा निषेवे तव पादपल्लवम् अहोतिधन्या व्रजघोरमण्या स्तन्यामृतं गीतमतीव ते मुदा यासां विभो वत्सतरात्मजात्मना यत्तृप्तयेद्यापि न चालम् अध्वराः अहोभाग्यम् अहोभाग्यं नन्दगोपव्रजवृषां यन्मित्रं परमानन्दं पूर्णं ब्रह्म सनातनम् येषां तु भाग्यमहिमा च तथावदस्ताम् एकादशैः वयं भूरिभागाः एतदृशीकचषकैरसकृत् पिबामः शर्वादयोऽङ्घ्रियुदजामतमृतासवं ते तद्भूरिभाग्यमिह जन्म किमप्यतावयां यद्गोकुलेऽपि गतवाङ्घ्रिरजोऽभिषेकम् यज्जीवितं तु निखिलं भगवान् मुकुन्द त्वद्यापि यत्पदरजः श्रुतिमृग्यमेव येषां घोषनिवासिनं मुद भावान् किं देवरातेति न चेतो विश्वफलात् फलं त्वदपरं कुत्रापि अयन्मुह्यति सद्वेषादिव पूतनापि सकुला त्वामेव देवा पिता यद्धामार्तसुरप्रियात्मतनया प्राणाशया स्वत्कृते तावद्रागदया सेनास्तावत्कारगृहं गृहं तावन्मोङ्घ्रिनिगतो यावत् कृष्णानते जनाः प्रपंचम निष्प्रपंचोऽपि इदं पश्यसि भूतले प्रपन्नजनतानन्द सन्दोहं प्रतितुं प्रभो जानन्ते एव जानन्तु किं भुक्त्या न मे प्रभो अनसो वपुषो वाचो वैभवं तव गोचरः अनुजानीहि मां कृष्ण सर्वं त्वं वेत्सि तद्दृक् त्वमेव जगतां नाथो जगत् एतत् तवार्पितं श्रीकृष्ण वृष्णीकुलपुष्करजोषदायीन् स्मानिर्जरद्विज पशुदादिवृद्धिकारीन् उद्धर्मशार्वरहरक्षिति राक्षसदृक् आकल्पमार्गमर्हन् भगवन् नमस्ते श्रीशुक उवाच इति अभिष्टूय भूमानां त्रिपरिक्रम्य पादयो नत्वाभीष्टं जगद्दात स्वधाम्ना प्रत्यपाद्यत ततो ज्ञाप्य भगवान् स्वभुवं प्रागवस्थितान् वत्सान् पुलिनमानिन्ये यथा पूर्वसकं स्वकम् एकस्मिन्नपि आतेब्धे प्राणेशं चान्तरात्मनः कृष्णमाया हता राजन् क्षणार्धं मे निरेर्भकाः किं किं न विस्मरन्तीह माया मोहितचेतसः यन्मोहितं जगत्सर्वम् अभीक्ष्णं विस्मृतात्मकम् उशिष्य सुहृद कृष्णं स्वागतं तेति रमहसा नैकोऽप्य भोजि कवला ये हिता साधु भुज्यताम् ततो हसन् ऋषिकेशो व्याभर्त्य सहार्भकैः दर्शयं चर्मजाजगरम् न्यवर्तत वनादृजम् बर्हापृशूनवनदातु विचित्रिताङ्गः क्रोधामवेणुदलशृङ्गरवोत्सवाद्यः वा वत्सान् गृणन् अनुगगीतपवित्रकीर्तिर् गोपीदृगुत्सवदृशी प्रविवेशगोष्ठम् अद्यानेन महाव्यालो यशोदानन्दशूनुना हतो विता वयं चष्मादिति बालव्रजे जगुः श्रीराजोवाच ब्रह्मन् परोद्भवे कृष्णे यान् प्रेम कथं भवेत् यो भूतपूर्वस्थोकेषु स्वद्भावेषु कथ्यताम् श्रीशुक उवाच सर्वेषामपि भूतानां नृपस्वात्मैव वल्लभः इतरे पत्यवित्ताद्यास्तद्वल्लभादयैव हि तद्राजेन्द्र यथा स्नेह स्वस्वकात्मनि देहिनां न तथा ममतालाम्बी पुत्रवित्तगृहादिषु देहात्मवादिनां पुंसामपि राजन्यसत्तमा यथा देह प्रियतमः सता नाहि अनूये च तम् देहोऽपि ममता भाक्चेत् तर्ह्यसौ नात्मवत्प्रियः यज्जीर्यदि अपि देहेऽस्मिन् जीविताश बलीयसे तस्मात् प्रियतमः स्वात्मा सर्वेषामपि देहिनां तदर्थमेव सकलं जगदेतच्चराचरम् कृष्णमेनं वेहि त्वम् आत्मानामखिलात्मनां Jagaditaya sopyatra dihiva bhati mayaya. Vastuto janatamatra krishnam stashnu charishnu cha. Bhagavadrupamakhilam nanyadvastiva kinchana. Sarvesham avivastunam bhavarto bhavati stitah. Tasyapi Bhagavan Krishnaha kim atadvasturubhyatam. Samajritaye padapallavaplamam mahatpadam punyesho murare. Bhavam budhirvatsapadam param padam 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 yad padam natesham. Etatte sarvamakhyatam yat prishtoham ihatvaya. Tatkaumare hari kirtam kaugande parikirtinam. Etachurudvischaritam murare. Agardanam shatpalajemanam cha. Yakte taradrupamajorvabhishtavam shrinvan grananyeti naro kilarthan. Evam vihare kaumarai kaumaram jaturvraje. Neelayanai setu bander markatotplamanadibhi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So now we will sing this beautiful song, Braje Prasidam Navanita Choram, glorifying the butter thief. Hare Krishna. This song is written by Bilva Mangal Thakur. So we, by singing this song to the Lord to kindly steal our hearts. Please make our hearts as soft as butter, so that Krishna would want to steal our hearts. That can be our prayer as we sing this beautiful song. The pleasure of Shishi Guru and Sri Gauranga. Raje Prasidam Navanita Choram Ohangananam Cha Dukula Choram Aneka Janmarjita Papa Choram Choragraganyam Purusham Namami Shri Radhikaya Hridaya Sachoram Namamuda Shamalakati Choram Padashritanam Chatamasdachoram Choragraganyam Purusham Namami Akinchani Kritya Padashritam Yah Karoti Vikshum Patigehainam Kenapyaho Bhishana Chaura Idre Drishtashrutavana Jagatrayepi Yadiyanamapi Haratyashesham Sanapi Paparashim Acharya Rupona Nujauraidre Drishtashutovana Maya Kadapi Dhanam cha manam cha Atindriyani Pranam cha Ritva mama sarvameva Palaya se kutra drito jachora Tvam bhakti ramna shri mayani rura Chinnatsi goram yama pasha bandham Chinnatsi jimam bhava pasha bandham Chinnatsi sarvasya samasta bandham naiva mano bhakta kritam tu bandham Manmanase tamasa rashi gore Paraghe dukha maya nibada Lavasva he chaura hari piraya Sojaja dev shochidameva dandam Karagrahe vasa sada hridaye madhiye Madbhakti pashadrida bandhana nishalasan Tvam Krishna he pralaya koti shatantarepi Sarvasva chaura hridaya nahi mochayami. I offer my respectful obeisances to that foremost of thieves, whose famous in Braja is the butter thief, he who steals the gopis' clothes, and who, for those who take shelter of him, steals the sins which have accrued over many, many lifetimes. I offer my respectful obeisances to the foremost of thieves, who steals Srimati Radhika's heart, who steals the dark lustre of a fresh rain cloud, who steals all the sins and sufferings of those who take shelter of his feet. He turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering, homeless beggars. Alas, such a fearsome thief has never been seen or heard of in all the three worlds. Mere utterance of his name purges one of a mountain of sins. Such an astonishingly wonderful thief I have never seen or heard anywhere. O thief, having stolen my wealth, my honor, my senses, my life, and my everything, where can you run to? I have caught you with the rope of my devotion. You cut the terrible noose of Yamaraj. You sever the dreadful noose of material existence. You slash everyone's material bondage. Yet, you are unable to cut the knot fastened by your own loving devotees. O stealer of my everything, O thief, today I have imprisoned you in the miserable prison house of my heart, which is very fearful due to the terrible darkness of my ignorance. And there for a very long time you will remain, receiving appropriate punishment for your crimes of thievery. O Krishna, thief of my everything, the noose of my devotion, remaining forever tight, you will continue to reside in the prison house of my heart, because I will not release you for millions of eons. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now we'll end with this song, this beautiful song, which talks about the loving relationship between Shri Radha and Krishna. So let's sing this beautiful song written by our very own Jiva Goswami. It's called Yugalashtakam. Krishna Prema Mayi Radha, Radha Prema Mayo Hari. Krishna Prema Mayi Radha, Radha Prema Mayo Hari. Jivane Nidhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gatir Mama. Krishnasya Dravinam Radha, Radhaya Dravina Hari. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Rama. Krishna Pranamayi Radha, Radha Pranamayo Hari. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Drava Mayi Radha, Radha Drava Mayo Hari. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Gehe Sita Radha, Radha Gehe Sito Hari. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Krishna Chitta Sthita Radha, Radha Chitta Sthito Harihi. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Neelambardhara Radha, Neelambardharo Hari. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Vrindavaneshwari Radha, Krishna Vrindavaneshwara. Jivane Nadhane Nityam, Radha Krishna Gati Mama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Translation. Radha is made of pure love for Krishna, and Krishna is made of pure love for Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is the treasure of Krishna, and Krishna is the treasure of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha pervades the life force of Krishna, and Krishna pervades the life force of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is totally melted with Krishna, and Krishna is totally melted with Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Shri Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is situated in the body of Krishna, and Krishna is situated in the body of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is fixed in the heart of Krishna, and Krishna is fixed in the heart of Radha. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha wears cloth of blue color, and Hari wears cloth of yellow color. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Radha is the mistress of Vrindavan, and Krishna is the master of Vrindavan. Life's greatest wealth is Radha and Krishna, my eternal shelter. Shri Shri Radhe Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for joining in. We will end our session here today, and we'll meet again tomorrow at 12:45 p.m. We will continue with all these prayers because we're reciting it every day for the pleasure of Govind Gauranga in this auspicious Purushottam Month. But we will also continue with the perfection of yoga during chapter number 4. So we'll continue that tomorrow. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koji Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. But it'll be nice if we can read something about Prabhupada's book. Right? We recited a lot of shlokas. Let's read 2 paragraphs, okay? Let's read 2 paragraphs from this book, this most beautiful book, which is The Perfection of Yoga. Let's read 2 paragraphs, okay? That way, we are reading and not reading also. It's like Ambarish Maharaj, taking a little bit of water. It's fasting, breaking the fast or not breaking the fast. So taking into account the request from a lot of devotees who said we cannot join on Sundays, but we want to keep this trend of having read Srila Prabhupada's book every day in this Purushottam Month. So we'll just read about 1 or 2 paragraphs. All right. So let me share my screen and then we will read this. Om Jnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing from chapter number 4. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayati Girim Yadkripatamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Okay, Karpagoli Mataji, go ahead. Let me, how do I see? Yeah, Karpagoli Mataji, please unmute yourself.
Yes, yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandatnam.
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Yes. So let me just quickly summarize what we studied today. We just saw that the best of all yogic processes, yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana. One who sees Lord Krishna in his heart is the best of all yogis. And what does he do? Shraddhavan bhajate yomam. With faith, he engages in the devotional service of Lord Sri Krishna. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Such a person is in me and I am in him. That is the best yoga system as described by Krishna in chapter number 6, number 47 of Bhagavad Gita. All right. Yoga yunjita satatam atma namrahasi stitaha ekaki atachittatma nirashira parigraha. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. A transcendentalist should always try to concentrate his mind on the Supreme Self. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Bhagavad Gita 6.10. From this verse, we can understand that it is a duty of the yogi is to always remain alone. Meditational yoga cannot be performed in an assembly, at least not according to Bhagavad Gita. In the meditation system, it is not possible to concentrate the mind upon the supersoul except in a secluded space. In India, there is still many yogis who assemble at the Kumbh Mela. Generally, they are in seclusion, but on rare occasions, they come to attend special functions. In India, there are still thousands of yogis and sages. Every 12 years or so, they meet in a particular holy places, Allahabad, etc. Just as in America, they have businessmen's conventions. The yogi, in addition to living in a secular space, should always also be free from desires and should not think that he is performing yoga to achieve some material powers. Nor should he accept gifts or favors from people. If he is properly executing his meditation yoga, he stays alone in the jungles, forests, or mountains and avoids society altogether. At all times, he must be convinced for whom he has become a yogi. He does not consider himself alone because at all times the Paramatma super soul is with him. From this, we can see that in modern civilization, it is indeed very difficult to execute the meditational form of yoga properly. Contemporary civilization in this age of Kali has actually made it impossible for us to be alone, to be desireless, and to be possessionless. The method of
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Oh, thank you,
So,
Mataji. Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
So here, contemporary civilization in this age of Kali, in Kali Yuga, you're not able to sit in the morning only, morning alone and chant Vinnar Hare Krishna mantra. For 2 hours also, you cannot do it. What to speak of going to the forest, sitting under trees there and meditating the whole day and focusing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is impossible because Prabhupada is mentioning it, right? It's impossible for us. We are, by our own practical experience also we can see how it is difficult just to sit in one place and chant our 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. It takes about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. That itself is difficult. We sometimes walk, sometimes no here, stretch, etc. How are we going to execute this? This is impossible. It is impossible for us to be alone. It is impossible for us to be desireless, and it is impossible for us to be possessionless. Right? Even a pauper is proud of his, what is it? Begging bowl. That's what we saw yesterday in one of those sessions. All right. Now, Kishori Mataji, go ahead. The method of executing meditational yoga from there. We'll finish with you. Yes.
Dandat Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah.
The method of executing meditational yoga is explained in a considerable detail by Krishna Krishna to Arjuna. See, Krishna said, Sucham te se prati. Mataji, can you sing whole paragraph?
Yeah. Shucho deshe pratishtapya stiram asanam atmanah. नात्युच्छ्रितं नाति नीचं चैलाजीन कुशोत्तरं तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यत चित्तेन्द्रियक्रियः उपाविश्यासने युञ्ज्यात् योगम् आत्मविशुद्धये. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. To practice yoga, one should go to a secluded place and should lay kusha grass on the ground and then cover it with a deer skin and soft cloth. The seat should be neither too high or not too low and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then
sit on it very firmly. हरे कृष्णा. आवाज नहीं आ रही है माताजी. Mataji, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, I did it. High or low, too low, and should be situated in a sacred place. The yogi should then sit on the very firmly and should practice yoga by controlling the mind and the senses, purifying the heart and fixing the mind on one point. Bhagavatam 6.11 to 12. Generally, yogis sit on a tiger skin or deer skin because reptiles will not crawl on such skin to disturb their meditations.
It seems that in God's creation, there is use for everything. Every grass and herb has its use and serves some function, although you do not know what it is. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has made some provision whereby the yogi doesn't have to worry about snakes. Having acquired a good sitting place in a secluded environment, the yogi begins to purify the Atma, body, soul. Yogi should not think, now I will try to achieve some wonderful powers. Sometimes yogis do attain certain siddhis or powers, but these are not the real purpose of yoga. The real yogis do not exhibit them. The real yogi thinks, I am now contaminated this material atmosphere, so now I must purify myself. So we'll end here. So this is what is mentioned by right, Krishna. Right? What does he mention? The best yogic process is to attain Krishna. Now, whatever else we attain, byproducts, right? Name, fame, glory. We are talking about how we receive so much of respect within this ISKCON world. Mataji, right? The greatest respect is given to a mother. Right? Mataji, please come sit here. Prabhu, Mataji, like that. So we get a lot of name, fame, glory, respect, and everything. But if we get diverted because of all this, then we will not attain the desired destination, which is Krishna Prem. Right? We have to maintain our humility, offer all respect to others without expecting anything in return. In this way, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra constantly, and then we'll be attaining the desired success, which is Krishna Prem. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. We'll continue tomorrow. Now we will quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. In the meanwhile, if devotees can switch on your cameras, it'll be very nice. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Mase Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Satyadishotarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Sankirtan ki jai, Kali Yuga Patita Pavan Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Sameta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So thank you Karpagoli Mataji and Nisha Mataji, Shanta Mataji, Neeta Mataji, Anjana Mataji, Harini Mataji, Rituparna Bhattacharya Mataji, Kishori Mataji, Nagavini Mataji for staying till the end of the session. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari 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 Bol. Hari Krishna. Thank you. Dandavad pranams. We'll meet. Okay, everyone can unmute themselves now. Quickly, we will take. In case anyone wants to share something, then we can take that. Otherwise, we will end here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Yeah, I think everyone can unmute themselves now, isn't it? Yeah, so we can take any queries or questions or feedback, realizations, then we can end the session. Hare Krishna, yes.
Thank you, Mataji,
Okay.
for that session.
Thank you, Dandavad Pranam.
Thank you,
Happy Sunday.
Mataji.
Happy Krishna
Thank
conscious.
you.
Happy Sunday.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
No
Srila Prabhupada ki
हाँ,
jai.
आपकी वजह से
Thank you, thank
आप
you.
हमारे लीडर हो.
Thank you,
मैं आपका
Mataji.
दासी हूँ माताजी. I'm your servant. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.